Hi, my name's Andrew from Gage, and today I'm going to show you a 16-channel Octopus CompuScope system that consists of actually two 8-channel Octopus cards. We're going to be focusing specifically on demonstrating simultaneity of signal acquisition across the two different cards and upon rapid repetitive acquisition. Here's a Gage system operating from a host laptop computer. The two Octopus cards, two 8-channel Octopus cards, are located in this PCI Express bus expander unit. The expander unit works such that the slots logically appear as if they were in this laptop computer, even though they aren't. Notice also that this is GageScope, our flagship oscilloscope software. Notice that the two 8-channel cards are presented as a 16-channel CompuScope system. We can see sine waves on 4 out of the 16 channels. Here we see a magnified view of the bus expander unit. We can see that there's a couple of PCI Express slots. In fact, those Express slots appear as if they were logically inside the host laptop, even though they aren't. Now, if I go around back of the bus expander unit here, we will see the back bracket of the Octopus cards. We can see here there's 8 channels on both of the two Octopus cards, and then there's 4 auxiliary inputs at the bottom, one of which is used for the external trigger input. You can see that I've just got 2 inputs activated on each card, on channels 1 and 5 of each card. The two Octopus cards are synchronized with this master-slave multi-card bridge board that connects the two of them so that they share sampling, triggering, and reset signals. You might be able to see some of the serpentine traces here that make sure that certain signals have equal propagation times, signal propagation times from one card to the other. The signals for the Octopus cards will be generated by a high-speed function generator. This signal enters this 1:4 RF splitter right here that reproduces the signals 4 times, and then 4 identical signals come out the 4 outputs. These 4 signals are relayed to the Octopus cards along strictly equal length cables. Here we're showing the 4 active channels from the Octopus cards. We're sampling at the maximum for these cards at 25 megasamples per second, and we're showing the waveforms on a 50 nanosecond per division time scale. The ensemble of waveforms moves around, but if I stop it, I can just take single shot waveforms and see that the simultaneity across the various channels, even on different cards, is excellent. In fact, it looks to me that the simultaneity between channels on the same card, such as channel 1 and 5, are just as simultaneous as across 2 cards, like comparing, say, channels 1 and 9. In order to demonstrate the repetitive acquisition capability of the Octopus card, I'm going to generate this very specialized waveform for the Octopus CompuScopes. What I've got here is a little waveform that changes on every trigger. Every trigger it changes polarity, as you can see. What it also does, oops, I was going forward, now I'll go backwards, is jump by 60 microseconds. Okay, 60 microseconds is what it jumps by from one to the next. Remember that number because I'll show it to you in a second. Here we see those same waveforms I was generating with the generator card being acquired by the Octopus pair. You can see that we're triggering off the large pulse, but then the little trailing pulses are jumping all around the place. Now if I put this display in persistence so we don't erase anything, we should see the waveforms build up, 10 of them as I said before. Furthermore, if we measure the time across them, we should see 60 microseconds as I said before. Here we've put cursors around the 10 little pulses, so we would expect that there would be 9 separations between 10 pulses, 9 separations of 60 microseconds, so we would expect to see 540 microsecond separation, and there you see 542, which is certainly consistent with 540 microseconds. If we don't put persistence on, we can see here that the little trailing pulse flips its polarity every other time. It also moves to the right with each successive acquisition, and this, as I said, we've already shown moves by 60 microseconds. Notice that the triggers, the big pulses on which we're triggering on, are about 2 divisions wide. Since we're on the 500 microsecond per division scale, this corresponds to about a little more than 1 millisecond. Here we've backed off the number of points that we take after each trigger so that we just marginally see the next trigger. We've been able to do that with around 25,600 points. So what I'm going to do is back the depth off now to 25,000 so that we don't get that next trigger, but we just miss it, okay? So that's leaving about 600 points, which corresponds to about 25 microseconds, far more than the card needs to rearm itself. Now we're going to perform a multiple record acquisition of 20 records, in which the 20 records will be stacked in the card's onboard memory with lightning-fast hardware rearm between the two. So I press go, and now I can actually, using these VCR buttons, I can actually play through the waveforms like a VCR. And we can see indeed that the waveforms are flipping polarity every time, and the span, the extent of which they're running, is, as before, that same 540 microseconds, which corresponds to the same 9 60 microsecond intervals. I put persistence on it. That same pattern will build up as before, with the 60 microseconds separating as before. So really this demonstration has proven that our Octopus card is able to acquire, without missing triggers, multiple waveforms with a very short rearm between each acquisition.